Great. Hello, everybody. How you guys doing? I know it's been a long day, so we will try to make it a end of the day here. So I know some of you are settling down, but I'm curious. Zach and I want to chat with you all, but we often find that it's great to find out who's in the room and where you all are at in your businesses and what you're doing, so we can kind of tailor our discussion to make it most relevant for you. So, just even, how many folks are starting businesses or at an early stage in their own startups? Is that kind of the audience that we have?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or maybe just shout out what kinds of industries are you in? Say it.
App industry.
Events.
App industry.
App, okay, apps.
Events.
Events, okay. Marketing, great. What are some of the other businesses that people are starting? Just shout it out. Communications. Okay, great. So some of you are starting your own marketing companies that you will be working then selling your services, so service-based industries, apps, okay, that's great. Excellent. And are most of you all New York people?
Yes.
Building your businesses in New York? Okay, great. Amazing. Well, Zach and I both come from the media side. We do a little of all of those things. I'm a filmmaker, a founder, and an activist. I have a production company called Culture House. And what we do there is we create television shows and films. That's our primary work that we do. And then we've translated that work into a brand practice where we work with brands and we help them to tell their stories and we help them to tell stories that reflect their values and help them stand out in the market, get people to buy their stuff. And the little bit about Culture House is that we're women of color owned. A lot of our work tends to find itself in those spaces. So we do a lot of work about women, about people of color. A good example of the work that we do, we have a show coming up on Netflix, which I hope everyone will watch. It's called Who You Call a Bitch. And it's about looking at race and gender in America through the lens of women in hip hop. So I think I usually talk about that show because I think it's a really good, it's just a very good example of the kind of work that we do. We really find ourselves at that intersection of pop and politics. And so we've translated that over to brands. For example, we're doing a series right now for Planned Parenthood. We're doing a series about mental health. So even in our brand work, it kind of reflects our values. And Zach is quite the expert in brand work and also works with incredible brands and comes from the more of the brand side of it. I come from the more from the TV side of it. So I'll let him introduce himself and then we'll maybe chat a little bit about our own work, and then we'd love to also take questions to help us drive the conversation to make it most relevant for all of you.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I think we're I think there's a lot of overlap in what we're doing, but I think that you're right. We do tend to focus on the short form stuff, the short films for brands is basically how I put it. And people, when they hear that, they think of commercials. And I think that that's the key distinction that we're trying to change, which is we all kind of have, especially everyone seems like kind of, roughly the same 10-year age group in here, more or less, but it's like we all have a commercial hangover from the way we grew up, which is all we see from brands is self-interested sales video content. And the rules are totally different now, where everybody has no choice but to be their own producer and their own, create their own platform one way or the other. So I think we try to come at it from a place of actually to actually tell a story. Don't just write, don't just create a commercial and put it on social media. Social media is a place where commercials are vilified. They're not only ignored, they're hated. So annoying, so annoying. So we get we try to kind of take our clients through that, and we try to get clients who are specifically interested in doing something other than that. So that's a brief intro.
Yeah. That's great. And maybe we can show Zach's video to tell you a little bit more about the company, so you can kind of work with you guys.
I can tell you that this is basically, we're trying to make the distinction between what brands tend to do and what people on the other end actually watch. Okay?
You know what I don't like? The way most wireless companies charge so much. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. We want to make videos that people actually want to watch. It's the best way to kind of get them into your world and try to show them something that they didn't know about.
Stories are strange things. In many cases, they're weird, they're off-putting, they are a little ambiguous as to what they might mean. That's true from the Iliad to Virginia Woolf to over the Bible.
You never mentioned things. One, two times.
Stories reveal truths that rational arguments can't quite capture.
Emotionally, they're already in it, and then they figure out what your brand is.
At that point, an ad becomes more than just an ad, it becomes more of a cultural offering. You know, it's interesting, people are blocking ads left and right. You know, skip this ad.
We skip ads the second we can, as soon as the ticker is up.
And yet, they're more than willing to pay $20 to go see the movie.
Soap opera was literally invented by soap to sell soap. And you look at that, you look at how history knows the truth, history knows the future. And when you reject that initial premise, when you reject that first principle of making something that you know most people are going to be bored by and annoyed by, when you make a show instead of an ad, and instead of an ad, people start staring. Don't just sell a product. Find your human factor and let it out.
That the wolves are back again.
Right.
So, that's all our footage and stuff we've done for tons of clients. Intermix there, and there's a shorter version, which I think I meant to send, but thanks for sitting through the 3-minute one. You know, that's it. That's the idea is we're trying to get them to do stuff that, you know, people, if they're scrolling on a newsfeed, you might actually have a shot at getting them to start a conversation with you. And that's the premise.
Right, no, and I think, and that's a really interesting distinction, you know, as one of the things that we talk a lot about with our clients, you know, clients that come to us and say, hey, we want to make a series or stories about a set of values. So currently we're doing a series of Hewlett Packard, which is a tech company, computers, I should be able to describe it better than computers. So we're doing a series from them about innovation, so tech and innovation, and they don't want it to be, you know, sort of selling Hewlett Packard products, but it's more like we're doing a series of profiles about women in Silicon Valley, you know, so, and then at the end it'll just say sponsored by Hewlett Packard. Now, a lot of people come to us and they say they want to do that, but then when it comes down to actually working with the client, they say, oh, can we say the name of our computer a couple times, or can we do this, can we do that? And as Zach, you said wisely, I think people really see through that pretty quickly, and then it starts to feel inauthentic. Like, the moment I think people feel like you're overselling them, you're disengaged from the story, from what's happening. So that's, for me at least, one of the learnings that I've seen change dramatically over the last 5 to 7 years in the industry is like how brands are understanding how to communicate about themselves. There's always going to be Super Bowl commercials, and commercials, that's fine, but when you're talking about social content or short form content, digital series, the more and more and more it can be story and character and emotionally driven, it feels like that's what's actually seeing success. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. That's the conversation we have every day. Is okay, we're going to tell a story, but you know, when is the joke up? When do we get to do our 30 seconds on what the product is and what the story is? You know, so I totally agree with that. It sounds really good. Cool for HP. HP's great at it, by the way. They do all kinds of interesting stuff. Like they had Christian Slater be in a web series about their new thing. Yeah, about their new security system. Anyway, but I think that's totally right. And the line between sponsor and producer is getting thinner and thinner. You know, it used to be you would sponsor, like they sponsor, you still do this obviously all the time, you sponsor a big event and hope, I don't know how that makes someone buy more of your products. You know, like if like BMW, this episode was brought to you by BMW, I don't know, it's just a name recognition thing.
It just puts it in their head.
Right, but your thing, if you're doing the HP, you know, that's they're the actual, it's their platform.
Yeah.
They're using it, so it's necessarily entwined with their company.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And we've seen a lot of success with that kind of work, but it's really interesting. So those of you that are going to marketing comms, I feel like these are going to be some of the questions and things that are going to be coming up with your own clients and sort of figuring out how to help them navigate that and stay away from what I think are the worst instincts, which is to like oversell, right? So in brief, I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs in the audience, so maybe we can just do a super quick, you know, Zach, if you want to tell us a little bit about your story and how you built your business. And I know it's a big question, but some of the things that you feel like could be great takeaways for folks who are currently in the trenches of building their business.
Yeah, I want to just be helpful. You know, I don't want to talk about myself. I don't have. But do you anybody running ads for themselves? Are you anybody running their own marketing right now? Good around. So it's, you know, I guess we try to, you know, when you're starting a company, for us, our company is still, you know, I think youngish, young enough, and we work with a lot of other young companies, and you have to get attention when you have none. So a couple of very practical things that we use and that we use for our clients are, you know, the idea of predictable content series. There's so much power in series. If people start to realize that every, you know, multiple days a week they're going to see a certain type of video from your platform, a certain type of post from your platform, that can become something they can socialize into their newsfeed. And that's kind of how we tell our friends about stuff too. You know, you see, oh, these guys once a week they'll put out, you know, the 5 perfect places for a date night in New York, something, whatever the thing is. But that's a really tried and true way to start growing and following pretty quickly from zero. And paid is obviously super important, but you know, a lot of times I think that because we feel like we only have 1 or 2 shots, we have to say the whole thing right away in a very short burst. And I think it's much better the way that we're talking about it, to kind of invite people into your story and begin to have a community of people that you can then down the line say, you know, by the way, we sell something.
And that's a tough one. Like when you start running paid ads and start putting money into it, because and what is that ad? Or how do you make those decisions? Like what do you advise your clients?
It's totally different for everybody, but basically we say if you're spending money, promote your most interesting stuff, promote your entertaining stuff first. Don't, you know, that's a great way to start. And like here's super practical way that we've gotten a couple of clients really good results is create a bank of content that you spend nothing on. Just create the content, leave it there, it's gonna get 2-3 views, doesn't matter. It's embarrassing, your friends will notice, it's tough, you can't do anything about that. But it's once you get through that first hurdle, once that whole bank is there, you know, a month in, 2 months in, you really feel good about the well of content being quality. Then you can start to $5 promotions, $10 promotions, and sort of start to test what you've made. And when people discover you, they discover not only the thing that made them, you know, interested in you, but also the well of stuff underneath that they've spent the time kind of firming up. And so that's been a really helpful solution for us. And again, serious predictability and a lot of testing, endless testing.
Yeah. And then, you know, I'm curious to hear from folks questions about things that you might be struggling with or questions that you might have.
Yeah, okay, so I have a question for you. So, in the beginning, did you engage in more like direct marketing? Like, for example, like, do you have people go like business to business or like door to door, like telling?
For our company?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did everything. I mean, we still do. We're trying to, now actually what we've been doing is we'll come up with a really creative idea that we want to make, and then we'll go out and try to find the right company that wants to do something like that. Versus, you know, we have a lot of clients that we're at the mercy because they're our clients already. So it's great to start a relationship with creative synergy. You know, you said, this is what I'm interested in. Do you guys care about this? And 99 say no, and then maybe the 101 is like, yeah, you know, there.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
yeah.
So that's basically.
Yeah. But
And then after that, like, when did you transition to like, just like indirect marketing, like the ads or like
yeah.
posters?
At a certain revenue level, you mean, or do you mean just when do they complement each other?
Yeah.
For us and for a lot of our clients, I think it's just a money question because it's you're probably going to spend for a little while, depending on your industry or your vertical, but you're probably going to spend for a little while in the dark. And so you have to have certain cushions to where you're not getting killed if you create a following, but you're not selling the product yet. So it's tough. It's a tough balance right kind of for everybody, but yeah.
And then how long did it take you to get like where you are now?
We've been around a little bit 3 years, and we're like in Manhattan. I still consider us a startup. This is great. Like it's so we're doing well. We're doing creative work that we really enjoy. But so I guess the first year was absolutely awful, 0, nothing, and then better, and then a couple big leaps and some big clients took chances on us, and then it's just it was just there's no map. It was just continuing to try. And I'm just more partners with people who are smarter and better at it. That helps.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, same. I mean, I've been really working for 5 years, and for me it was very strategic. Getting into the film and television. I've always worked in film and television, so just I went to film school, and I worked in events, and then I worked in MTV and Viacom for 10 years, and then I left there about 5 years ago to start running business. And it was really difficult. It was a big challenge because you're walking away, you don't necessarily have clients, you don't have an agent, and there's a lot of things that you don't have that kind of set you up to fly. But that's for any entrepreneur, whether you're building a business like mine or you're building, you have to, those first 3 years are kind of like no sleep, you just going somehow. I haven't slept in like 5 years, and now I have a baby, so I won't sleep for another 5 years. But it's very much about like building the right relationships, building a culture of our own business, finding the right people to help to really execute on what it is that we're trying to do. And that now, 5 years in, we've got great relationships with the TV executives, and we've got great relationships. I have an agent now. I mean, and all of that just takes pounding the pavement. It's just like, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. So in order to like establish like a good rapport with like your potential clients, like what do? You take them out to dinner? Like
Yeah.
you spend time with them? Like what?
So that's a great question, actually, and I think that it's, it varies very much with the culture of your clients and the industry that you're in. So if you said communications, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marketing
communications, yeah. So for me, absolutely. I spend a lot of time keeping in touch with my clients, checking in with them very regularly, using the holidays as a time to send people notes. Hey, how are you doing? It always just kind of flares things back up again. We actually started an event series at another venue called Noyan House, which some people may have heard of, but we do 4 events there a year. And the reason I started that is exactly for that reason, is to have a way to reconnect with clients and people and have something to invite them to. So it's not like I'm just saying, hey, do you have work for me? But it's like, hey, there's this really cool thing, come and join us, have fun. And it's worked. We were having those events, and some people Planned Parenthood showed up at one of the events through a friend, and now we've made, we've done 3 films with them this year. So that works, and then as far as my clients and then the people who buy stuff from me on the TV side, I always am taking people out for drinks and dinner, and I'm not, it's not like I have a lot of money to do that, so I kind of, I figure out, how to do things, or how to, do things, and then I also come up with my own events, so like my own company, we host a monthly, ends up being about bi-monthly, like women in film drinks thing, which doesn't cost us a lot of money, and it's great, even if people don't show up, just practically speaking, showing up in their inbox once every couple of months is a good thing. It just keeps your name top of mind. So I do think strategically those things are important, but obviously what's most important, and here's the flip side of that, is I also know a lot of people who are great at that, but they don't have substance. So great, like you go out for drinks and you're awesome and you're cool, but like what the fuck are you selling? Piece of shit. Like so if you have some substance, the style comes next, but it is important. but focus on that substance. Because if you don't have substance, there's no reason to take you out for drinks, because nothing's happening. So, the first 3 years of my business, it was just like, do I have something really strong and amazing to sell?
Yeah.
And now I'm in a position where I'm like, all right, now everybody needs to know what I'm doing. But for a while, it was just like, heads down, make it happen. For me.
Did you set aside a certain amount of money,
Yeah.
your budget,
I do.
to take clients out? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do that every year, and it's usually a small budget, but hopefully it'll be bigger as we grow, and I absolutely do, yeah, and I send people gifts, when I can, key people.
Do you talk about how the creative ways sometimes you can go about getting an event funded? Because I know you,
Yeah.
right? If you have brands that are interested and there's a core offering that's really exciting, if you produce it, right?
Yeah, and I think, so there's a couple things. There's the way that we do our own events to tell our story and to invite people to things. We have partnered with kind of cultural hubs or spaces where it's like, hey, do you want to do an event that's featuring young people of color, women? It's going to be comedians, and it's going to be fun and amazing. And usually those venues are like, yeah, we want that event. So you can find a way to make it a win-win, or as my friend Steve says, win-win-win, and that's really important, right? Because then it's something that's working for the venue, it's working for you, it's something you can invite people to, and it's with smart sponsorship. And then eventually, if you do it well, you can turn it into a product, right? And say like, hey, this is something that I can put on for you guys, Marriott, and I can do it in your, which is something that pops in my head, and something that we're doing right now, where we're pitching Marriott and saying, hey, we can host these events at some of your more marquee hotels, and that kind of thing, and then it becomes a product as well.
That was,
I was just gonna ask if you would consider bringing sponsors to cover your costs.
Yes, well, that's what I'm saying. So in this case, we're doing that, the venue's covering the cost, but absolutely, finding sponsors, whether it's, sometimes liquor sponsors will do things like that, or other
Different
kinds of food and beverages, or brands, that feel like that's the right audience for who we want to reach.
that was such a crazy insight to me, which maybe a lot of people knew this, right? But if you get other people to pay for stuff, that's fun and rewarding for you. I had no idea about that. But it was, we have really exciting ideas sometimes. Brands are interested, they don't have quite enough money, so what if the guy's wearing a watch? We get a watch company to come and pay, and we're doing stuff like that now. So it's crazy that if you start to think that way, how when you go as well.
So what percent of your time would you say you spend on business development, getting new clients, versus doing the actual work and the creative? And then I guess what's the best way to get new clients if you're just starting out?
That's a really, really good multi-layered question. How much time do you have to get alcohol? I would say for me, very briefly, and I'm sure Zach has his own experience with this, is that for me, business development and actual maintenance production work very much hand in hand. The business development typically it's expensive, right? Especially on the kind of work that we do, because we're out pitching clients and we're paying for those pitches out of our pocket. Nobody's paying us to pitch them. So it's being really strategic about creating, as simple as creating templates that you can keep using again and again, so that you're not building your pitch from scratch every time and spending as much time, whether that's for a pitch deck, whether that's for a sizzle reel, whether that's for what you're offering people, really honing your product so that your development and business development process becomes more and more efficient as you go. Obviously, it's going to be bespoke and customized and tailored to your client. And then the maintenance and production side of it is like I said, if you sell it, you better make it great, because you're not going to sell it again. So I think it's really just, it depends on where you're at with your business. In my first year, I was doing everything. So I was selling it and then I was making it. So I was doing everything all at once, and it was exhausting, but possible, but you can only have so much capacity. And once we reached a certain point, I was able to hire producers and people who are like, okay, I'm selling it, I'm there, I'm making a vision, you guys make it, so that those things can then happen at the same time and be ongoing. But that's, every business has to grapple with that. It's like, how much money can I spend on customer and client acquisition, and then how much of it is on actually maintaining production. Every business is so different. And finding clients, Zach should probably speak to that, especially on the brand side, it's tough. Obviously, it depends on your business, but.
Same answer as, I couldn't say it better than that. That's exactly what we face too. And we're just now getting I still spend a ton of my time in business development. My background's creative in writing. I love the concept of the video and the new ideas and stuff, but you have to, because then no one's going to do it for you. It's not going to start. And we have business dev guys and connections and stuff, but it's not as effective, I find.
And how do you get your clients? Like, how do you?
Never the same place. I mean, I guess it's not true. I mean, a lot of it is just creative synergy, right? If we know where they are, like, what are our ideal clients doing? We make lists of this stuff. You know, what are they doing right now? You know, a lot of them are, part of this network because they're looking for chances. We always say like that our ideal person to talk to is to see someone in the marketing department who's sitting in their boardroom and they're like so mad that they're doing the same thing over and over again, but they can't say anything because the culture is never, we want to find that person who really wants to do something different. So how do we get clients? We start with the ideas, we lead with the ideas, because digital agency, it's like opening a restaurant in New York, so we lead with the ideas. If people like the ideas, great.
So that particular person that you're trying to influence, is that the executive or the actual practitioner doing in the trenches doing the work?
Or we'll talk to us, really.
Whoever
We'll start, and then we get the whole room, and then we bring it in,
Right.
just start internship.
What kind of business are you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking for a new job in marketing actually, and I worked in an ed tech startup briefly. I had a sales background, and I was in classroom. I have a business blog that I've scaled up, and I cover events as press. So my goal is to find a new marketing role, whether it be in product, content, or digital, where I could apply that sales background, but in marketing, not sales, not going door to door and doing the
Right.
business development.
Right. Yeah, well, marketing is just about having your ears and eyes open, and to Zach's point, like giving people ideas, adding value for people, and that's why they're going to want to talk with you, not necessarily, hounding them for business.
But is there a certain ideal client that you're going after? Or I know you mentioned Hewlett Packard, but is there a certain type, like B2B, B2C, the size, or?
Yeah, I mean, on the brand side, for us, it's like any brand or nonprofit even that's looking to either create something to share a message or a cause, or to talk about their brand and to lead to sales. But for us, it's in a way that through stories. We don't do the short form commercials. We do short form stories or, content marketing in a way that's a little bit different than a straight commercial. So I think all kinds of brands are doing that, whether they're, tech brands, like, retail brands, big technology brands, everybody's getting in the game, in my experience. Yeah, Anisha?
Actually, I really enjoyed the ads or slash commercials that you displayed, Zach. So the question I had was, a lot of those ads were very storytelling based, not like clickbait or very conversion based. So how do your clients measure success, or how do you convey success to your clients?
Yeah, it's a great question. We struggled with this a lot at the beginning because this is why we have a distribution arm, a whole distribution strategy around our content, because we had to prove that it was going to work. We had to prove it. So it was just our idea as a bunch of creative people. We think this is a good way to go, but we had to prove, that it was an ROI to it. So we just constantly test them against the kinds of videos they would reflexively make. So we have a ride hailing app as one of our clients, and they'll have one that's 30 seconds of what's the differentiating factor of the app, and what cities are in, things like that. And so we'll run that 30-second thing against 30-second music video, or a 30-second skit, like maybe something Elijah would do, something like that, right? And then we'll just test them, and 9 out of 10 times we're winning on things. Not only on like brand recall and stuff, but actually on downloads and more intense KPIs. So we just do a lot of testing. In the beginning, we had to put like case studies together, But like you're saying, this is more it's moving this way. There are more creative stuff. Like Yeti's doing a great job. Dollar Shave Club, obviously, super famous example. But I think it's getting easier to sell creative stuff.
Yeah. So, do you have your in-house intellectual property lawyer or copyright lawyer, or you use it outside case by case?
I use an outside lawyer. I don't have an in-house PC, but so my lawyer, I have somebody who helps me to navigate IP and, ownership of various things. For the most part, the work that we do is very much work for hire, whether it's, that's technically legally what it would be under. So everything that we do is usually either owned by, like our Netflix show is going to be owned by the network. There's nothing for us to really own there. Most of the work that you do for brands, typically you're doing it as a work for hire, so you don't own it. But there are situations where, obviously, if you're able to create something where you can own the IP and have ownership and license it, that's great. That's, it can become an ongoing revenue stream, but it's certainly a challenge, and it's not a big focus of the kind of work that we do, but we have somebody out of house who helps us with that. What else? Yeah.
What are some of the tips for like funding? So like obviously having a startup, you don't have like a lot of money, right? So like how do you get people to like donate basically?
I think you'd be better with this.
Oh yeah.
She's her private budget's way bigger.
Well, I think it depends on, look, there's so many ways to answer that question. Like, are you somebody who's raising a round of money? Like, are you looking for investors? Are you looking for maybe a friends and family type of round? Or
I wouldn't really ask my friends and family. I would probably just go like kind of like cold calling in a way. Like go to people who like I've never really met before, like pitch my idea. Like,
got it. So to invest in the company.
Yeah.
I think what's most important there then is really building like your startup deck, which there's like a whole bunch of great resources online that you can look at that will give you like these are the 10 points that you really want to hit in your investor deck. So you want to talk about what is your business, your passion point, how are you going to, what is your revenue stream, like what's your business model, how are you going to make money. What is your target market? I mean, how many people could possibly be buying this? And give some comps. Here's other companies that are doing what we're doing and what we're making. Off the top of my head, but there are people out there what they do. So if you do a little research online, there's so many good resources. So I would say that your first line of attack is to come up with that really nice strong deck, and then obviously have a really great pitch, which is have your 1-minute elevator pitch, have your sort of 3-minute pitch. So that people will, there's reason to invest in you. And the other thing I say to everybody, this is not necessarily relevant to this audience, but in a different way relevant is like, how do you choose people that you're going to hire? And a lot of the same questions that I would say, the way that clients think about us or the way investors, I say that in today's sort of landscape, my experience has been truly, really leaning into a niche and being less and less of a generalist and more of a specialist has been very successful for me. So that's, I would say that maybe that's not right for everybody, but I can say that for me, when I go out and I say, I'm a woman of color, I'm a young person, I really understand this market, and these are the group of people that work in my company, and we understand that content supply chain. So if you don't want to make mistakes like Pepsi, then call us. So that really works. And so we may not be the people that Cadillac calls to make a commercial, but like Dove and Vaseline and Planned Parenthood and Tresemme, they call us, right? So because we found our niche and we know what it is that we're good at. So I would say like really, whatever it is in your investment, what are you really good at and you personally, like what is your authentic lived experience that you can bring to the table that no one else can say, hey, this is what I'm great at. I think for me, I look for that all the time, whether it's people that I'm hiring, people that I'm collaborating with, so I would recommend that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Zach, anything you want to add?
No, this is awesome. I just think that, did you want to show up to your thing?
Oh, no.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that the way it's going, it's just, I agree with totally niche down and I think that it's, I think that, there's two people having two different reactions to the proliferation of all this new media stuff. Some people think it's like the end of taste and the end of culture and that there's no more gatekeepers and it's terrible. Other people think it's amazing, there's no more gatekeepers, it's unbelievable. Democratized but there's also, there's obviously good and bad things going on, but it is an empowering thing, obviously, and also I just think that the noise level is insane. That's how we have to operate all the time. The noise level is insane. There's so much stuff all the time. And now at the end of interviews, it's so weird. You notice this at the end of interviews all the time, they say, how do we find you? But it's like, how do we find you? So it's like, there's the conceit is that everyone's invisible.
Yeah.
And so that's the starting premise. It's a depressing one,
Yeah.
but if we start from there, it's like, wow, I only have, let me say something true at least, you know?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Zach. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
I have a final question.
Oh, we have a couple more minutes, I guess. Go
Okay,
ahead.
great. How can we reach you guys? Email?
Oh, right, well, that, to Zach's point, yeah, well, Zach, where, you know.
Humanfactormedia.co. Actually, we'll be launching a website in like 3 days, so wait 3 days. And that's it. We have a web series and a podcast coming out called Why Aren't You Famous? And that's it.
Why aren't you famous?
Yeah.
All right. And where's that coming out on?
We'll have it all over Vimeo, YouTube, PR company distributing and things like that.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
And for me, Culture House, we are just www.culture.house. Yeah. All right. Great. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap.
Great, yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
So guys, we made it. That was all day. So thank you to everyone who came out in the morning, stuck around the whole day, and hopefully you guys learned a lot. We really appreciate your support, and we plan on being here monthly. So if you enjoy the event, seriously follow us at Zach and Brooke, or hit my personal Instagram, and I can connect you guys to whoever. But I'm excited to share. We're going to keep this going for those who want to meet more people. We have a happy hour right here at the Liberty.